Hi there. I'm Diana-Liz, founder of Rejuvenating Lifestyle, and I'm here with Pam Miles from True Transformations, and we are two brain coaches having a discussion about uh, high blood glucose. And this is something that we are both struggling with, and this is a topic that's probably of interest to all menopausal women. And so we've been studying this and practicing, and it's not so easy to manage it without medicine. And we try to have a healthy lifestyle and do everything that we can for the health of our body. So we're sharing some of our experiences, some of our knowledge, and we hope that you will listen to our conversation on it. Pam, what's on your mind today?
Well, I was really curious about labels.
Yeah.
I've been looking at them, and it still baffles me how some, they'll break down the carbs, they'll break down, they'll have the total, then they'll have the fiber, and then but then they have sugar.
Yeah.
And it's like, okay, I still am tripping on that, for whatever reason. I just can't get over that. It doesn't make a lot of sense to me.
Yeah. Well, I don't have one in front of me to it, but it's really important that you read the labels because some of the things are really obvious.
Well, I do.
Yeah. I was at the store, and I drink almond milk. Okay. And so I picked up one brand and I looked at the contents, and they're both unsweetened. And the calorie content and the sugar content was different by about 50 calories. And so that's a lot of more sugar and more carbs. And it was the sugar content that was different. So you have to shop wisely and look at that sugar. The other thing is that sugar has a lot of names. So anything that ends with OSE, sucrose, fructose, OSE is a sugar. And agave is a sugar, and maple syrup is a sugar. And you have to take them into consideration.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, like this one that I was telling you about. This one is that barbecue jackfruit, and so they've got 18 total carbs, 6 dietary fiber, and 7 sugars.
Okay.
So they're saying that what?
Well, do you look at the total carbs?
It was 18.
The total carbs was 18, and let's see, and then the carbs by themselves, the carbohydrates, was how much?
Well, the total carbs is showing 18, and the sugars are 7, and the dietary fiber is 6.
Okay. Well, the dietary fiber, you usually subtract that from the carbs.
Right.
But I don't think you subtract it from the sugar.
Yeah, so
sugar is extra.
Yeah, so
and the carbs would include the sugar.
Right.
Include the sugar.
Well, that's why I'm saying, I wonder why they break it out.
Yeah.
Because you would think that it would. And so that makes it hard to come up with a net, because the net normally is the total minus your fiber.
Mm-hmm.
Well, that's showing 12.
Well, that's because they subtract the fiber.
Right. That's what I'm saying. When you do it that way, but that's 12. So where does that 7 of the sugars, are they factored into that? Does it even make any difference? Is it something I should be concerned about?
sugar, you should be concerned about.
Well, yeah. But I mean,
take it into consideration to your total that you have.
So of that 12, is it of the 12 or is it of the 18 that the 7 is a part of?
The 7 is usually subtracted from the carbs.
No, the dietary fiber.
But so when you get to net carbs, it should have had the fiber subtracted.
Yeah, okay. The fiber was 6.
6. So if your fiber was 6 and the total, okay, let's start over again. The total carbs are 18.
Yep.
Okay, the fiber, the carbs by themselves was how much?
So which one are you referring to?
You have the total carbs on top, and then you have carbs underneath.
Well, they just put it as total carbs and dietary fiber.
Okay, so they don't break it down?
No.
Okay, so the dietary fiber was 6.
Uh-huh.
So that's 12.
Right?
Yeah.
And then sugars are 7.
So that should be 19. And they have 18. That's interesting.
That's what I'm saying. And this is honestly not the first time I've ran into this.
Yeah.
I've been running into it quite a bit, and it's not jiving. You know what I'm saying? It doesn't add up. It may be 1, 2, or 3 even off.
And reading labels can be challenging.
Yeah.
And noticing one of the things that's important is where the ingredients are listed.
Right.
The first ingredient is the biggest and the greatest in the content. And as you go down, things get smaller.
Right.
You might have 6 carbs added, sugars added, but you need to see where it is. And sometimes it'll have 3 different names. It'll have high fructose corn syrup, which is toxic. That's absolutely the worst thing you can do for your body. And then it'll have blue agave, and then it'll have sugar cane syrup. And, so yeah, it's real important to do that.
Yeah.
Yeah. So if you see those, you need to think about if is this the best product for me? Is this good for me?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, that was really important, and that was on my mind. But another thing that was on my mind was portions, as far as or balancing, rather, I should say, balancing with your proteins and then your fiber. Because if you're going to get a bunch of your carbs in, you want to have a good balance of these things to, offset each other.
Well, you have to make some decisions about
fat.
Fat. Well, fat, we have to remember Mark Hyman. He is pro-fat, and he says eat fat, grow thin. And we talked about that on our last episode on how fat was vilified in the 1950s. And we still have the remnants of that among us. And healthy fats are necessary. The brain is made up of fats. It's one of the reasons why cholesterol medicines are so dangerous, because they just remove cholesterol from your body, and your brain is cholesterol. So, so that's one of the reasons why to do as much as possible naturally, to allow the body to do what it was designed to do by God. Yeah. So the portions, every functional medicine doctor, have different descriptions about what's the best way to eat. And I like Terry Wall's. Mainly, we need to eat plants, as many plants as we can, with a little bit of protein and a little bit of fat. And the more natural foods that we eat in their natural state, the healthier we'll be. And Terry Walls is one of my favorites, and she is way out there. She had ALS and she was in a gravity wheelchair, and she was being booted out of a position where, and she was not going to be able to do the research that she loved. And so she went home, and in 6 months, she was able to ride her bicycle. And yeah, out of a gravity wheelchair. And she did it with nutrition and exercise and supplementation. And she recommends that you eat 9 cups of fruits and vegetables a day. And that is a lot of fruits and vegetables. But yes, you just cover your plate with fruits and vegetables. Other doctors recommend the Mediterranean diet with lots of fruits and vegetables, a little tiny bit of grain, and lots of fish. And so you have to decide what, and listen to your body. It will tell you. And if you crash after you've eaten it, or if you feel, you just don't feel well the next day, your body's telling you, you need to do differently, and you need to explore what works for you. And that's one of the reasons why we hire coaches, is because every person is individual and unique, and what you do and what I do may not need to be what you do. And so that's why we work with a coach to help us learn to listen to our bodies.
Yeah. That's for sure, because, and I'm coming to appreciate that more and more all the time, because you and I talk about, the differences that we have. Like I might be able to eat something and it doesn't affect me at all.
Yeah.
Different,
watermelon.
Right. Watermelon and cantaloupe. A lot of it. Yeah, it's crazy.
Yeah, it's crazy. And
but it does put it
Pam Miles for your research, because I would never have understood all of this without having appreciated his TED Talk and the research that he did that was behind it. And that's that each of us is unique, and we have to work to unlock and biohack our body to be healthy. Yeah. So, and we talked about hidden sugars. And so you have to read the label, because we put sugar in everything. We have sugar in ketchup. We have sugar in Tabasco. We have sugar, lots of sugar in barbecue sauce. I mean, it's in everything. It's in cereals. And one of the reasons why we love those products is because sugar is addictive. It's the most addictive substance on the planet. It is more addictive than cocaine. It is more addictive than heroin. So if you're having trouble losing weight, and if you're having trouble managing your diabetes, there's nothing wrong with you. You just got to break free from this. And if you need help, you need to find a functional medicine or a brain health coach to help you on your journey. Pam, I want you to share what you something that I think would be really, really useful. There's been damage to the ends of my fingers, and lots of times I go from finger to finger to finger and all the way down, and then I start over again.
Yeah.
So, but some fingers, I can already tell that even though I'm not diabetic, that I'm pre-diabetic. I'm in that danger zone. I have a really hard time getting that little tiny bead of blood to come up, and so that I can put it into the meter. And you shared something with me that I think would be so helpful that I had never thought about.
Well, yeah, it happened to me this morning. I was going to do my check, and I did the stick and nothing. I mean, I was just squeezing. I was trying to milk it and everything, and I was just like,
I go through that everything.
Yeah, I was like, oh man, I got an error reading, so I gotta do it again. So I ran over to the sink and I just turned on the water. I got it good and warm, And I just left it under there for about 30 seconds, maybe to a minute, and warmed it up really good. And then I, dried it off and went back over there and quickly did it. And I mean, it was good. It really, no problem. There it was. And I just did my reading.
That's
So,
good.
it was able to get that blood flow in the capillaries going really good and everything. So,
I'm definitely going to try that tomorrow. And you were sharing with me something that I didn't know about, but that there's actually different ways of measuring that you don't have to prick your finger. And
yeah,
I
that
think it's so
continuous
cool.
monitoring.
Because
Yeah, that's
some people just like, one of the reasons they don't want to check is because they just don't want to, to
to the
get
stick.
blood out of their finger. It just seems like, painful. And
Mhm.
and then there's actually meters now that you can wear on your body, and that measure it.
And it doesn't have to be, you don't have to sit and wait at certain times of the day, and oh, has it been 2 hours? No, just an hour. And you can check it whenever. And that's pretty neat just to scan. So um and I think, honestly, Diana, there's gotta be more of this and more information out there to let people know that, because that is a big thing. I was talking to my daughter-in-law and she's like, I've really wanted to check, but then I don't want to stick myself, and some people are afraid of needles, and there's all this fear around
Mhm.
it. And so, but the fear is causing people to get into serious problems, because once I never had a clue that there was anything going on. And fortunately, I was alerted to it whenever I can have time to do something about it.
Right.
Versus later on when it's too late, when I didn't have a clue that I should be monitoring myself. Because, like we've talked about, if we always hear about obesity being the major issue in type 2 diabetes, but that is obviously not necessarily the case.
Yeah. And I think one of the things that happens, and I know this is so important in Alzheimer's prevention, is that aging starts at age 35. All these changes begin at age 35, and we start down the slope, and we don't really feel the changes that are happening between
No.
35 and 55. But all
Yeah.
of a sudden we're at 55 and we're aware, or even worse, 65, and you think that you're up here, but you're not up here. You're way down the list. So
Right.
taking actions before and being proactive is just so critical.
What
So
is that old saying about prevention?
yeah.
I mean, it's true.
Yeah.
And if you're able to, and that's, important to get out there and tell people, young people, you know
Yeah,
they're
and that's the whole
invincible.
truth. I mean, you can get away with it, but you're going to pay the fiddler sooner or later.
I mean,
Yeah.
yeah,
So it's all about putting life into your years and quality of life. And that's why we're here, because we want to prevent diabetes, we want to prevent Alzheimer's, and we want everyone to live the best possible life possible. So thank you for joining us today. And we'll continue our conversations on living a healthy lifestyle. This is Pam Miles and Diana Gallegos saying goodbye. Till later.